What's up, guys? Good evening. So today is another beautiful day in the garden. Welcome back to the garden, by the way. But today's another beautiful day in the garden. Like, it's got that fake spring weather going on right now. There we go. All right, sun is killing me right now. We got that fake spring weather going on right now, and it's just really, I'm not falling for it. This weather's not going to trick me into putting out my tomatoes and all that other good stuff. But I am going to take full advantage of this good weather so that I can get some potatoes planted, right? So that's what we're going to be doing today. Throwing some potatoes in these bins, just for starters. And I'm going to take you guys along with me and show you our progress, our process of planting potatoes. That way, if you plan to plant potatoes, plan to plant potatoes. Say that 3 times fast. That way, if you plan to plant potatoes, you'll at least have some good starting points. So if y'all stick with me throughout the video, we're gonna go through that, and then I'm gonna show you something that I'm doing different this year that I haven't done in the past. That's gonna hopefully help with our production. All right, so let's ride. All right, you guys. So today is February 24th, right? And we're throwing potatoes in today because we found last year we did the same thing. We planted potatoes in these 4 bins and around about Valentine's Day, and they did good. You know, they sprouted within a couple of weeks. They did die back when we had a frost, but they bounced right back once the frost was over. It didn't kill off the seed potatoes, so that was perfect. So my plan for the reason why I like to start the potatoes early, I could easily start them, wait till the last frost date, start them then. But the reason why we start them early is because we try to get at least 2 harvests out of the potatoes. So we try to succession plant with the potatoes. So if we put them in now in February, they take about 90 days, 90 to 120 days. So February, March, April, May, June, they should be coming out at the latest July sometime. And you know, they'll be coming out sometime in July. And then we can amend the soil real quick and immediately put another batch of potatoes down. And then we figure August, September, October, November, right by our first frost date, these things should be done, cooking and ready to go. So that's the idea behind why we like to start early. I wish we could do that with a lot of other things. We can, but there's some things you can't do that with. Like, it's gonna be hard for us to do that with sweet potatoes because sweet potatoes don't like the cold at all. So you can't plant them until it's actually warm enough to plant them. So you're only gonna get one. Well, we are in our garden anyway. We're only gonna get 1 crop of sweet potatoes, and then watermelons and everything like that. It's difficult to succession plant because it takes so long for them to grow, and they only like to grow during the warmer months. But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about potatoes, right? So, I'm gonna just show you our method for starting potatoes, or really my method, because Keisha has a little bit different method than I do, and it works, and I think it works better. I would say that she's had better results with her method than mine, and hers is just, she crammed a lot of potatoes into one spot. That was it. I try to use a little bit more discretion in terms of space, but that's neither here nor there. We're gonna get potatoes one way or the other. Ain't that right, Pepper Rookie? Hey, listen, I know my man Pepper Rookie is down for the count right now. He's recovering in the hospital, and we definitely wish him the best of luck with everything that's going on. Sending positive vibes his way. But this is for you, Pepper Rookie. We're gonna get some potatoes. We're gonna get some sweet potatoes this year. This is a must. Like, there is no failure is not an option, right? We're gonna get these potatoes, man. We're gonna get them, potatoes and sweet potatoes. I mean, we've got potatoes in the past, but sweet potatoes have definitely been a challenge for us. So anyway, what I'm doing right now. So right now I'm just adding some composted manure to my potato bins. I grew potatoes in these 4 bins right here last year. The first bin did a lot better than the first 2 bins did a lot better than the last 2 bins. I don't know why, because I used the exact same formula as far as the grow medium, which was just straight compost. I used straight compost in here in all 4. The first two bins got the most potatoes. We got a little, I think we got a little bit out of here, and I don't remember if we got anything out of this one. I will have to go back and watch the harvest video from last year. So all I'm doing now is amending the soil, throwing in some composted, some more compost, some composted manure. Y'all know what we call it, the super poop. But we have, in addition to the super poop, we have some. We stopped by a friend of ours here in the high desert, her llama farm, and we picked up some llama poop, some llama, goat, chicken. It's almost as super as a super poop. So with this poop added to the super poop, now we got super duper poop. Alright, so I'm gonna just add some of this, and if you guys didn't know, llama poop, goat poop is cold. So you can add that straight to your garden. You don't have to compost it. This is probably aged because she has to clean it so much that she gets so much of it. She uses it in her own garden. She makes the teas out of it and everything. So it is probably aged a bit, maybe 1 or 2 years, but it is cold. Llama and goat poop is cold and hard, apparently. This is probably super right here, honestly. And you can use it directly in your garden. You can store it straight from their booty to your garden, right? But yeah, so I'm just amending with that. And some more compost down here to make this as fertile as I possibly can for right now, right? And you know what? As a matter of fact, I'm gonna throw some pelleted fertilizer down here, some organic stuff. Also, because I said I'm trying to go the whole year without using any kind of additional fertilizers, but if I do have in smaller amounts, I'm going to just use it up. I'm gonna just use it on this first batch of crops that we're gonna be planting, and then when I run out, I just run out and I won't buy any more for the rest of the year. But that's that. Now I am gonna be using some amendments on different things, but I guess we'll talk about that. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So as far as these potatoes are concerned, I'm gonna go ahead and throw down some manure, some compost, and then some super poop and goat other poops and super duper poop, for lack of better terms. Okay, so now that's gonna be our base. That's where we're starting at, right? Is with our soil, making sure we have as fertile of a soil as we could possibly have to put our potatoes in. So like I said, this compost, and I forgot to tell you guys that I put down a layer of leaves in between the compost and then the new compost, the fresh compost that I just added, right? So I got a layer of leaves down as well to allow them to break down over time and to just feed the soil microbes, and everything should be all good, right? Okay, so we're starting off with our soil, with having the most fertile soil that we possibly can. The next thing we want to talk about is the potatoes that I'm using. So these potatoes are russet potatoes that we got from the store. It's just a bag of potatoes. So you guys don't have to spend money on seed potatoes. But if you want to spend money on seed potatoes, that, to make sure you get a good, viable potato, you can get them from your big box stores. You can get them from your local nurseries, your online nurseries, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just you're gonna get some potatoes, right? And the idea behind buying those seed potatoes from those places is because hopefully they playing the game the way it's supposed to be played, and they're not spraying their potatoes with chemicals, so you don't have any inhibitors on them to keep the things from growing when you actually plant them. That's the big idea behind buying them from a big box store, that they're not going to be treated chemically. Okay, but if you don't have if you buy from those places, you're gonna pay a premium for them, right? You're gonna get like $3 or 4 potatoes for like $5. That same $5 can get you a 5 to 10 pound bag at the grocery store, right? And if you buy them from those places, those big box stores or those nurseries, you're gonna have a larger selection of potatoes, right? You can get your whites, your yellows, your reds. You can get your fingerling potatoes. You can get your Kennebec, your the purple Viking. You got a whole range of potatoes that you can buy. So if you buy them online or buy them from a nursery, you have those options. But if you go to the grocery store, you're really gonna only have a handful of options. You may have some yellows, some reds, and then you're gonna have mostly the Idaho, the russets. right? So these are the russet potatoes that we bought from the store. We do have some seed potatoes that we got from Home Depot that we're gonna be planting, just not today, okay? But these are our russets. Now, when you plant your potatoes, when you get your potatoes, when you get them home, make sure you wash them, because if you remember, I talked about the inhibitors that could be on the potatoes that's keeping them from sprouting like this in your pantry. If you have them, if you have a fresh bag and you bring them home, the inhibitor is probably going to still be a little bit active on it. So make sure you wash them off, rinse them off with some water to try to get that off as best you can. You may even have a bag of potatoes already halfway sprouted in the back of the pantry and you don't even know it. They're not going to look like this per se. They may look white instead of having this green and purple looking sprout on it. It may be white. No problem. You can still use them. You can either throw them in the ground just like that. You can go buy a bag of potatoes right now, wash them off, let them dry, and then throw them straight in the ground. You're gonna get potatoes at the end of the season. You can take the ones that's in the back of your pantry that's sprouted, that's white. You can take those. You can throw those right in the ground. You're gonna get potatoes at the end of the season. But this is a healthier sprout, right? And ideally, this is what you want if you have the time. So whether you have regardless of how you get your potatoes, even if you get them from the seed store, the big box store or nursery, when you get a seed potato, it's gonna come looking just like this, just like a regular potato. It's not gonna have any sprouts on it. It may, by now, because they put them out in January, by now they may have sprouts, but if you buy them early in the season, they're not gonna have any sprouts on them. You're gonna have to sprout them yourself, and that process is called chitting. And all you're doing is letting the potato develop some eyes on it, some nice healthy eyes before you plant them. That's it. So what we like to do is we like to get ours, in our plant station, we'll just take whatever potatoes we want and we'll sit them on the shelf in one single layer. You don't have to do that. This is how we do it. We just sit them in one single layer on a shelf and let nature take its course. We sit them on the shelf in the plant station that's near a window, so it's getting that ambient light from that ambient outdoors light, right? Super simple, not difficult at all. Over time, within 2 to 4 weeks, you're gonna have chits. The longer you let them sit there, the bigger they're gonna grow, and there you have it. These 2 potatoes, this is a whole potato, this is a potato that's been cut, right? Now, the reason I cut this potato is because I'm just trying to get more seed potatoes out of one potato. That was it. When I cut this potato, it was a whole potato, but it had sprouts on both ends. So it had some on this end, had some on the opposite end. I can get more potato, I can get a larger harvest by planting more seed potatoes, right? Excuse me. So I cut that potato in half, so I have 2 halves of one sprouted potato. Hopefully I'm explaining that the right way. Right, so now instead of planting one whole potato, right, I can cut it in half. I can plant 2 separate potatoes and get 2 different harvests. I know that makes sense to you, right? You guys are smart. I know that makes sense. Sometimes I have a habit of over-explaining stuff. I've always been bad at it. So anyway, that's why this potato was cut in half. So if you decide to do the same method, you do the same technique. When you cut your potato in half, you cannot plant it immediately. You need to let it scab over and let it look like what it looks like right there with that whole dark area right there. Let it scab over so that when you plant it, this seed potato don't rot and die before it can produce anything, right? So basically, just like your skin, when you get a cut, it protects itself by scabbing over. It clots and scabs and all that good stuff. Same thing here, okay? So that's why this potato is cut in half. That's why the bottom of that potato looks like that. And the reason why this potato is not cut in half is hopefully after what I've just explained, you guys can look at this and understand why. I only have sprouts on one end, so I'm not gonna wait for the other side to sprout. I probably could cut this, let it scab over, and eventually this side would sprout. Would sprout, but I'm not gonna worry about it. It has not, planting a whole potato like this has not been detrimental to the garden, to the production of the potatoes. It hasn't hurt it in any way, right? So this potato, I'm gonna just plant it whole just like this because it has sprouts on one end. Now, as far as the sprouts are concerned, I typically like to have maximum, of 2 sprouts per potato that I plant, right? So this one already has 2 sprouts. It doesn't have any additional, it has some really small ones that starting to form. I'm gonna just take those off and let that potato focus solely on growing those 2 sprouts right there. For these sprouts, for this potato, it's the same. It really has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm gonna take off this small one here. I'm gonna take off this one because it looks like it's not doing well anyway. And then I have 4 left. I'm gonna take off this one and that one. And I'm gonna leave the 2 biggest sprouts on it, and I'm gonna let it go for what it knows, right? Because in my theory is, like I said, if this is a small potato, this potato is gonna feed these sprouts until roots set, and then it starts pulling from the nutrients. And I'm like, I think it can focus better when it just has 2 sprouts. So that's my theory behind it, right? So that's that, y'all. That's that for those potatoes. Like I said, I got 2, 4, 6, 8. I got 10 of these things between 2 of these beds, but I think I'm gonna put more in here. I think I'm gonna crowd them a little bit more. So the other 2 beds I've already done. I have about 6 per bed, 6 to 8 per bed. Yeah, somewhere between 6 to 8 potatoes per bed. I think over here, I'm gonna push it and probably put all 10 of these in one bed just to see what happens. In one bed, I'm gonna do it in this one. That way I know this one has the most amount of potatoes in it. So, and that's it, y'all. That's it for that. For the seed potatoes, like I said, we wanna make sure that the bed is as fertile as we can get it. We got good, viable seed potatoes. And the last amendment that I'm gonna add is going to be some bone meal. And the reason why is because potatoes absolutely love phosphorus. So if you have potash, you can sprinkle a little bit of that in here. You have to just be careful if you're gonna use potash, because potash is so alkaline that it can not only raise the pH of your soil, but it can actually send a lot of the life that you want in the soil, flying, trying to get out of there, trying to survive, right? So you just have to be careful if you're going to use potash. I've never personally used it, but that was when I was researching it, that was one of the key concerns that the person was telling me about, or telling us about, because it was a YouTube video. And it was a viable YouTube video, so it wasn't just like, the person had the research behind it and the experience behind it, which is super important in my opinion. Like, book knowledge is one thing, but having that experience in the field is completely different, because you gotta improvise, you gotta come up with some solutions to problems that you had no idea would arise. But anyway, if you use potash, just understand that. And there I go on the tangent, right? So I'm using the bone meal. That's going to be basically that only amendment that I'm going to throw in here. I'm lying. As I said, I'm going to use up the rest of the fertilizer that I got, the pelleted fertilizer. So I'm going to be right back. I'm back. All right, and I told you 2 stories. So I'm going to throw some biochar in here also. But I forgot I had some of that left over. Put that down here. I like using biochar. I definitely saw a difference in our production last year. Our tomatoes were crazy, and I didn't even use a lot of biochar down then, right? So I'm gonna use that biochar right there, and then the pelleted fertilizer. So like I said, y'all, the only thing that we got added to this is the bone meal, the biochar, this fertilizer. Those are the only amendments that we're throwing in here. Outside of that, everything else is the organic matter, as far as the leaves, the compost, and the compost manure. So that's it, y'all. And I'm putting that all on the level right here, right on surface level, because I'm gonna put my potatoes and then add soil on top of that, right? And the reason why I'm adding it at surface level is, number one, I want it under the soil so the microbes can do their thing and break everything down. That's number one. And number two, as those potatoes start to send out roots, that stuff will basically be at readily available at their level as soon as those roots come out. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw these in here, and all I'm doing is pushing these down maybe 2 or 3 inches into the soil. And I'm gonna bring y'all in a second. All I'm gonna do is push them down 2 to 3 inches into the soil, because I'm gonna add like 3 to 4 inches on top of the manure on top of that. All right, so like I was saying, all I'm gonna do is push these potatoes in about 2 to 3, down about 2 to 3 inches like that. And understand that, number one, when you plant your potatoes, eyes to the sky. So you want your sprouts pointing up. See how all my sprouts are pointing up? Cool. And when potatoes grow at the surface level. They may grow down a few inches also, but for the most part, they're going to be like right around here in your surface area. That's why if you come and look at your potatoes during the growing season, you'll start to see potatoes like surfacing around the bottom of your plant. All right, so we're gonna do another one right here. And like I said, I'm gonna do like 10 in this bed, just so we can see what happens. All right, this one isn't, all your potatoes aren't gonna sprout the same and look like that. Sometimes they'll look like that also. It's still a good potato. You can still plant it. It's no problem. Didn't have any issues out of the ones that we planted last year. They did look a little funky, but you see how that got all those eyes on it, right? And you got that one big eye right there. I'm gonna take off this eye and that eye and leave those 2 right there. And I'm gonna put those up to the sky. Let's stick them up. And this is the last one. No, you know what? No, it's not. This one is gonna go here in the corner. And this one, this is not a russet. This is actually a Yukon Gold, but we planted some Yukon Golds yesterday, and this one didn't have any, really have any sprouts on it, but it's developing one now. So I'm gonna just go ahead and throw this in the back over here, and that's about as deep as I'm gonna plant them in this soil. Next up, I'm gonna just start unloading a bunch of this poopity poop right into the bed. Like I said, I'm gonna bury these things about a good, they're gonna be total buried roughly about 4 to 6 inches. And that's what you want. You want your potatoes about 6 inches deep. And when they start to grow, you're gonna want to come in throughout the growing season and hill them. All right, y'all. So I really hope that you guys heard what I said. And I just found out that my phone died. I mean, my mic had died. So I don't know when it died, but I know that it died. So I hope that you guys heard most of what I was saying before. If not, I probably just did a voiceover, so you probably I probably explained everything in the voiceover. But that sucks. That's the only bad thing about sometimes having these mics, is that you don't get any warning when they die. They just die, and you find out when you're editing, or you find out when you take it off. But anyway, so the thing that I'm going to be doing differently this year that I didn't do last year is I'm going to be making what's called watering stakes. Okay. So the reason why I'm making these is because last year I noticed that the bottom of a lot of this soil, oftentimes it was really dry, like it hadn't got any water. So I think that a lot of it had got hydrophobic at some point, and when I was watering it, it was just running out the sides and out the bottom, making me think that the container was getting water. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create some watering stakes and put 2 per container, and I'm gonna water directly into those stakes as well as the surface area, surface level. And hopefully that will combat that whole dry soil thing that I was having at the bottom half of the container. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take a 2-inch PVC. This is some PVC I had left over, and I'm gonna cut this about it's not gonna go all the way down to the bottom of the container. It's gonna go almost there, about a quarter of the way up. So I'm gonna cut it right about there, right about here. You can cut them however long you want to cut them for your situation. If you do this, if you're doing this, and I'm probably gonna leave that one just like that. Ain't no sense in making two of those cuts. I probably could have just got away with cutting it in half. But this is some Schedule 20, 2-inch, Schedule 20, Schedule 200, 2-inch PVC, right? And this is a 2-inch cap for this PVC. I'm gonna just throw this on the end, and then that's where we're starting at, right? Next thing I'm gonna do is drill holes along this thing, right? And all I'm gonna do now is drill holes all up and down this this PVC pipe. That's 12 holes, 6 per side in this PVC. And all I'm gonna do is push this right down in the middle, right here, right in between the potatoes. And now when I water, like I said, I can water at surface level, and I can also water a little bit deeper. And I don't know why I put the holes at the top, but hey, whatever, it's gonna help. Now that I'm thinking about it, like I didn't have to put holes all the way up and down it. But if I want to use it, if I want to bury it a little bit deeper, then I have that option, right? But next time, maybe start at the bottom and do, and do the ones at the bottom, right? You live and you learn. No big whoop. No big whoop. So I'm gonna take this and do the same exact thing, but this time I'm gonna start at the bottom, right? I have a understanding of how deep it's gonna be. And how many holes that I need to have. Look at that, that's perfect. Well, that's what, get out of the potatoes. All right. I still went 2 holes higher than I would have liked, but you guys get the point. That's probably not going to stay there. I'm probably going to cut that because that's a significant height difference. But yeah, so you guys get the point about what we're doing with the with this whole let's see, potato bin. All right, it's nothing crazy. Just trying to increase our potato yield. That's it. Just trying to make sure that the potatoes get exactly what they need. And that's it, y'all. That's it. Last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come through with a layer of mulch over these things. But I'm not gonna mulch until I actually see them sprout. And then we're gonna ride out the season. Occasionally, maybe side dressing with some more compost and stuff like that as the season goes on. But that's about it, y'all. So hopefully this helps someone along the way. If I made you smile today, don't forget to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button first. Hit the subscribe button also. All right. But I appreciate you guys for watching. Hopefully we helped somebody. If you did find this entertaining, if you found this informative, if I put a smile on your face, hit the like and subscribe button. We will see you guys in the next video. And here's another video for you guys to watch for your viewing pleasure. Follow us on our garden journey. Peace out.